everybody, what is up? And we are live. I do apologize for the slight delay since I'm pretty new to StreamYard and I'm just trying to figure out all the technical jazz. So without further ado, I want to thank everybody for being here. And how's everybody doing so far? So hello Cynthia, good to see you. What's up? Woo! Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Does anybody have anything on to draw tonight? And yes, today is a very special night, as it's not only a live art stream, it is an open panel stream. So if anybody wants to come up, talk and have a chat, actually, like, if anybody wants to come on up and have a conversation while we're doing art, come on up. Don't be shy. The link, the guest link is the pinned comment in the chat. So hello everybody, what's up? Unfortunately, we are back. Fortunately, we were able to get everything situated that we might have had to cancel just because of some technical issues, but we're back stronger than ever. So without further ado, let's dive on into some of the art itself. If anybody has any art requests, please shout it out in chat, and I'll do my very best to do what I can do, especially if it's something that AI cannot draw for you, or you have a very favorite family member, pet, or anything you want to draw. I can do it for you. So I've just been like testing out StreamYards, trying to figure out how to get the Zoom to work, and I just kind of thank everybody for your patience. I know it's not gonna be perfect at all. This is more just of a test stream, but also a birthday celebration too. I'm actually thinking about making myself some red velvet cake, or maybe some chocolate fondue, just for my birthday tomorrow. Just for my birthday on Monday. I was going to do my stream on Monday, but I actually have work, and I'm probably going to work double shift. So does anybody have any favorite birthday cake flavors or any favorite birthday traditions? Hello, Gil. Good to see you. What's up and how you doing? Gil says, hello, Simon. Draw a unicorn flying to the moon. Fly me to the moon and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and I adore. And now what, Gil, just for you, you're going to get a unicow flying to the moon. Invaders from planet Moolah. Oh, and guess what, Gil? Here you go. You're going to get yourself a baby unicow. Hello, James. Good to see you. Woo! Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Right now, we are drawing oops, wrong button. Right now, maximize. Whoop. Right now, we are drawing a baby unicow for Gil flying to the moon. How are you doing, James? How are you doing, Gil? Been quite some time. We want our cows back every day. And unfortunately for me, I have yet to capture the unicow, who has been absolutely elusive. So no unicows or jackpots for me so far. Gil says, yes, my mom would have been 91 on Monday. You're a Capricorn Sea Goat. Aw, how special. And also, happy heavenly birthday to your mom, too. So here you have your unicow jumping to the moon. Whoop. We want our cows back. I'm also very sorry to hear Gail, I'm just very sorry to hear, Gail. And it's like very hard to have a loss. And back in 2020, I know this may not compare, but I remember losing a cat named Frecklebutt, and it was a really huge loss. She was like just a very sweet kitten, and I just really miss her presence. Gail Simpson is asking, Simon, will you be going to the casino for your birthday? That's a good question. Unfortunately, there's been no casino trips or anything planned in the future. But if I was to go to the casino for my birthday, the first thing I'd play is the original Invaders from Planet Moolah. Not sure why, but I just find the sound effects pretty hilarious. Used to not like the sound effects, but they have grown on me over the years. Another thing I would try playing is 50 Cent Dragon Link, just because I'd be eligible for this $10,000 grand jackpot, even at minimum bet, which is why I loved playing Dragon Link, just because you don't have to bet big to win big, even though it's a very, very volatile machine. And then you can't have a cows without some chickens. Not sure why, but some of the chickens on Planet Moolah, they remind me of the pelicans from Finding Nemo, and they go like, me, mine. Does anybody have any favorite slot machine characters that they would like me to draw? Sim says like, can you draw me my dog? His name is Tanner. He is part weenie and part Chihuahua dogs, and his ears are really big. Unfortunately, I don't have a reference photo, but I try my very best. And also, Cynthia, if you would like to send me a reference photo of the weenie Chihuahua, hello Matthew, good to see you. What's up and how are you doing? And Cynthia, if you'd like to send me a reference of the Chihuahua, you're more than welcome to send me a reference photo. If you would like an exact version of your dog, to it's a slot machine at gmail.com. No spaces, no apostrophes, just the words. It's a slot machine at gmail.com. But this is my best guess of what I think your dog looks like. Not gonna be accurate at all, but sometimes you just gotta give it the best guess you got and see where the road takes you. Oops, not coming out very well. But let's just guess. How are you doing, Matthew? And James says, my son's birthday was 3 days ago. We're having his party tonight. Oh, how special. How's your son doing? I hope that your son is doing well. And he has Tana's extra big ears. This is what I think of when I think of a Reno Chihuahua. I forgot his name, but I do think of Bullseye from Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. And I remember in Toy Story 3 when he was like, come on Bullseye, let's go. And Bullseye was like clunk, 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 clunk. And I was like, oh no, poor Bullseye, poor Woody. Oh, thank you so much, Cynthia. That means a lot. I do call any weenie dogs slinky dogs. Not sure why, but I just decided to watch. But I've been like watching a lot of Disney movies lately. So there you have it. A weenie doggy and a Mickey Mouse. Who let the dogs out? Oh, thank you, Cynthia. I'm glad I got as close as I could. Whoop. I can imagine James. He's doing great. He just turned 40. I feel so old. I can definitely imagine, especially especially since how quickly time can really fly by. And also Matthew says, Bullseye appeared in the second movie of Toy Story, not the first Toy Story movie. I'm curious, but who was like the very? But I'm curious, Matthew, what was the name of the dog who appeared in the very first Toy Story when Woody was running down the stairs? Well, right here is the infamous Slinky Dog. Speaking of Slinky Dogs, what I find really wild about Toy Story is that the very first Toy Story came out in 1995, and the animation style from Toy Story 1 to Toy Story film is night and day difference. Is a night and day difference. Just because of how sophisticated three-dimensional computing and technology has gotten. Another thing I find really wild is that Disney came very close to losing all of Toy Story 3, all of Toy Story 2, because what happened was somebody was like one of the IT people accidentally deleted all the Toy Story server files when they were trying to reset the servers. The only saving grace is that one of the studio employees who was pregnant actually asked Pixar to pack up computers and they ship some of the animation computers to her house. This way she could work remotely. Fortunately, she had all the backup files and had the entire movie backed up onto her system, which actually saved the entire Toy Story 2 production because they nearly lost years of work. One of the animators recalls sitting there, and all of a sudden, Woody's hat disappears. Then the background disappeared, and just everything disappeared, which was pretty nerve-wracking, especially from an animator's perspective, who has been dedicating countless hours and time into creating like 1,000 leaves. I used to be a 3D animation major, which does give me a slight hint of just how much work and labor goes into these animations. Thank you, Matthew, for clarifying that Buster is the dog. And Matthew says it's Scud. It's Scud. That's his name? Also Buster. Buster Scud. Got it. Yeah. So does anybody want to come up on the screen? Gail says the big new tech show is in Vegas now. I'm curious, what is the new big tech show about? I have not heard about it yet. And 1 second, my screen has completely frozen into oblivion. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. And also, thank you so much, Cynthia, for the $5 lucky super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Woo! Thank you so much. That means a lot. Not sure what's going on in the chat, but this is not a banner. This is not a boat. Enable chat overlay. Close. I'm trying to pin the super chat. Be right back. Refreshing. And we are back. Not sure what happened, but we got like a super chat. And all of a sudden the entire screen froze. Not sure what's going on in StreamYard some days, but you're very welcome, Cynthia. I'm so glad. We shut this off. Whoop, 1 moment. Thank you for your patience. Live. It says all the star super chat. Try and get your super chat showing up on the stream. Not sure what the heck is going on with StreamYards. I'm not sure what setting I turned on. Thank you for your patience. Cancel. Hey Siri, can you please cancel this? Oh my gosh. Oops. Continue show the plans. Let me cancel this. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Not sure what StreamYard's trying to do to me, but it sure is torturing me. Come on, StreamYard. Don't be naughty. Don't be nasty to me. Let's go. All right, there you go. Thank you so much for your patience. Not sure what's going on with this annoying little StreamYard app. Sometimes it's like the genie. Sometimes it grants you 3 wishes. Other times it grants you the L. And Manny says, Tony, I'm a Goofy fan. Can you draw him? Absolutely, Manny. And Manny, I'm curious, have you ever met the voice actor behind Goofy? I saw an Instagram story where somebody actually got to FaceTime the voice actor behind Goofy. So I'm curious, was that you by chance? And we are back stronger than ever. And what the heck just happened? Why do you have to keep pulling this mischief on me? StreamYards, you're nothing but mischievous. You're nothing but spiteful sometimes. And StreamYards, sometimes you just love to be spiteful. Welcome to the life of technology. Nothing can stop us now. Nothing can stop us now. So I'm curious, Manny, what do you like about Goofy? I also did receive a rather disturbing comment, which I gotta get off my chest, that nobody's gonna take me seriously just because I have a childlike demeanor. So I'm just not sure what to even make of that, because I just heard somebody say the reason that nobody takes you seriously, Simon, is that you have a childish demeanor. And I was also told that if I wanted to actually get invited places, if I wanted to get invited places, or if I actually want to if I want to get taken seriously, that I need to have more of a mature voice. And I'm like, oh really? Come on. So here you go, Goofy. Here is your lucky. Here you go, Manny. Nothing can stop us now. Here is the engineer, Goofy. One moment. Let me fix the chat again. Thank you so much for your patience. Oh yes, Matthew says, can you draw the evil queen from Snow White? Absolutely. I can draw the evil queen from Snow White coming right up. And hello, Quadzu, it's good to see you. How are you doing? Quadzu's asking if you can draw Choco in the dark. Oh, that's so silly, Manny. He makes me laugh. He tries sometimes, but he never gives up. Especially how he teases Mickey Mouse as an engineer. And what I find really wild is that he does not notice a giant pie getting stuck inside of his steam engine, and the steam engine goes kaboom. Me and me on the wall. Tell me who's the fairest of them all. Ha 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 ha. So here we go. Evil Queen just from Matthew Whoop. Gotta draw a little larger than life just because of how StreamYard is set up. So as a reminder, if anybody wants to come on up, you're more than welcome to come on up and chat with me while we're live. We do have the guest link in the comments. We do have the guest link pinned in the comments. what I find really interesting about Snow Queen, about the evil queen, is how she literally transforms from a queen to a completely different character. And I find it really impressive. I find it really impressive about how the animators literally animated her from going from a queen figure to an old lady appearance. And another thing is, I always get another thing is, I tend to get the evil queen confused with Maleficent. So while I was watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, I was wondering why the evil queen was not turning into a ginormous fire-breathing dragon. And I was like, oopsies, wrong franchise. So here you go, the evil queen, awaiting your approval. Quad is just kidding, doing well. Just kidding on the Choco. Oh my gosh. So just for you, Quadzu, here is some Choco. Do you know that Choco originates from coal? So if you ever want to give me coal in my stocking, instead of giving me coal, give me some Choco and I can do some artwork with it. First time I ever drew with Choco was back in 2017. It was back in 2007 during my very first summer camp, and I remember learning how to draw chocolate flowers, which did take me quite some time to perfect, especially with how quickly and easily the medium smeared. So there you go. Here's the evil queen, thinking about putting chocolate in Snow White's stocking. Yeah, she's like the epitome of the Grinch. Snow White, bam. There you go, Quadzu. Here's the chocolate with the Snow Queen. Girls asking. Yeah, girls asking if we can draw Astro Boy. Absolutely, let's draw some Astro Boy. Matthew says Maleficent is from Sleeping Beauty and she turns into a dragon. Definitely one heck of a time. And I've actually not seen the live action or animated version of Sleeping Beauty, which I'm long overdue to see. So here we go, girl. Let's draw some Astro Boy. Astro Boy was also what I find interesting is that Astro Boy is what got me into Japanese anime, along with Pikachu. I used to have no clue about what Japanese anime even was until I started watching Johnny Soccer and the Giant Robot. Then YouTube started suggesting me Astro Boy, Doraemon, and Pokemon, followed by Yu-Gi-Oh! It was definitely a pretty vivid anime rabbit hole back in 2015. And that was the year I also discovered Habbo Hotel while watching a SpongeBob episode about Karen the computer getting into an argument with Plankton. What a heck of a year and a heck of a time. Astro Boy, oh wait, wrong theme song, that's Spider-Man. Astro Boy, slinging through the city. Oops, that still does not sound right. I actually don't remember what Astro Boy's theme song is. But I did dress up as Astro Boy one year for Comic-Con, and unfortunately, not many people knew who he was. Which was kind of a bummer, especially since I was really into Astro Boy back then. Do you know that Astro Boy first made his debut back in 1969? If I can recall correctly. I did see the Astro Boy movie, which I absolutely loved. And in the Astro Boy movie, he did wear a t-shirt. Not sure what it is, but something about a humanoid flying robot really gets my attention. And also another thing is, I actually mistaked Jimmy Neutron for Astro Boy a few times, and it was actually a time where I thought that Jimmy Neutron was Astro Boy's little cousin, and boy was I wrong. So here you go, Astro Boy. Whoop. And Yellow's also asking if you can draw the Doomsday button with a hand over it. Don't panic, everybody. Doomsday coming in. Coming in twice, coming in hot. Please lift all fingers off the doomsday button and remain seated. Also don't forget to be sure to pull on your yellow strap. James says growing old is mandatory, growing up is optional. LOL, good point. I do find it wild that you have to grow older, but you don't have to grow up and you can be like Peter Pan. So here we go. Gil is asking if we can draw the doomsday button with a hand over it on going once, going twice. Whoop. Here you go. Everybody, please remain seated as we fulfill Gil's request. You never know what's going to happen here because in a 3, a 2, a 1, Another thing is when it comes to art, drawing hands is not my strong suit because of how common this. Another thing is drawing hands is not my strong suit just because of how geometrically and deceptively simple they are. When you look at a hand, you think it's just very easy because you can draw a cartoon sausage and you think it's over with, but nope. Because of how much we look at our hands and each other's hands, the human mind can easily tell if something looks off even by a smidge. So know what? Instead of a human hand, you get E.T.'s finger. E.T. Car Doomsday. E.T. E.T. not looking. E.T.'s looking for some trouble. E.T. looking for trouble. Elliot, quick, Elliot, get your alien over here. So E.T. looking for trouble. E.T. looking for trouble. Going once, going twice. Panic, everybody! Let's panic. Claudio says, "May you please draw a ballerina on a high layer." I can absolutely do that. I have never drawn a ballerina before, but let's see what we can do. Ballerina on a high layer. Push it, baby, push it. No, we should push it in a 3, a 2, a 1. Kaboom! Boom! Everybody loves Kung Fu fighting. Hello, Gobbler. Good to see you. What's up and how you doing? Right now, we're drawing a ballerina on a high layer. Ballerina. And Gil says, whoop. And Gil says, maybe that's where my ideas come from, allegedly. Gil says, Astral Boy was a bit more serious and a darker mood. I can definitely see how Astral Boy is really serious and can be a really rough show, especially in the very first episode where it is revealed that Astral Boy was completely neglected by his father, and his father literally brought him for a companion, but instead his father completely ignored him, and he ended up being raised by one of the not mad scientists, but one of the scientists. I'm not sure why, but sometimes my art is like either hit or miss. Some days I can have some real Sundays. My art comes out like home runs. Other days, my art comes out like sloppy seconds. Matthew says, "Can you please draw the Rock and Roller Coaster guitar?" I would definitely be missing the rock. I would definitely be missing the original Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster. But I'm definitely excited to see what the Muppets coaster will bring in. It's definitely a huge adjustment, especially for people who grew up in the 90s riding Rock and Roller Coaster during the summer. And I also do miss when the parks were way less crowded. Speaking of the 90s and the early 2000s, I also remember in Hollywood studios when the parks were so uncrowded that you could very easily get to Tower of Terror that you could very easily ride Tower of Terror within like 15 minutes upon getting into the line. But unfortunately, with how crowded the parks have become, it's like near impossible to get your own elevator car unless you get really lucky or to actually be able to ride it within 15 minutes of rope dropping. Very non-high mile. Whatever you do, don't get them foolish models or happy hands involved because you never know if you're going to end up in the stretching room. Beware of hitchhiking alligators. Beware of hitchhiking alligators. One of the very first ballets I've ever seen was Nutcracker Nutcracker when I was like 3 years old. Not sure what it was, but something about classical music and performances really captivated my attention. And ever since then, I've been glued, but not as much as I used to be. Matter of fact, next year I'm actually going to be seeing the Nutcracker again for the first time in like 15 years. So there you go, the Haunted Mansion, High Wild Ballerina. Oh, you're very welcome, Kardzu. I'm glad I could draw your High Wild Dancer. James says, I recall when Astro Boy was first released, I recall thinking, what the heck is this? And also for me, when I first watched Astro Boy, I was like, whoa, what the heck's going on here? Who the heck are you, Astro? Who the heck are you? And why are you flying around with 2 robotic boots? How do you walk? So I was wondering who the heck Astro Boy was. So Matthew's asking, can you please draw the rock and roller coaster? Absolutely. You know what's really wild? Is thinking that there's actually going to be another, that speaking of guitars, what I find wild is that there's going to be a guitar coming to the Las Vegas Strip. And what I find really wild is the fact that that guitar replaced the entire Mirage and the Volcano. Originally, Hard Rock was going to keep the Mirage intact, but unfortunately, upon digging through the construction site and the hotel rooms themselves, the Hard Rock did find a spec and did find a spec which immediately required the entire structure to be demolished for health and safety reasons, which was a huge bummer for anybody who loves the Hard Rock Conservatory and loved the Volcano. I still recall just how much I love seeing that volcano light up during the nighttime. And I know I got into a little tangent. The reason I brought up the Mirage and the Hard Rock is that the Hard Rock Casino is actually building a mega guitar. Is building a mega guitar on the Las Vegas Strip, which I'm pretty blown away because I'm curious to see how that guitar is going to differentiate from the Hard Rock Hollywood Guitar Hotel versus on the Las Vegas Strip, just because it's 2 completely different audiences. And I do wish that the guitar might need to hold a lot more people and have a higher capacity in Vegas, just because of tourist traffic. And speaking of guitars, I'm actually very pleased that Disney is keeping the iconic guitar intact. That was something I was really worried about, especially with what happened to Mirage Volcano. I was actually very worried that Disney would completely remove and demolish the Rock and Roller Coaster guitar and turn it into something completely different. But fortunately, the guitar gets to live to see another 50 years, allegedly. So here you go, who loves rock and roll and Muppets. So there's the famous Rock and Roller Coaster guitar, which is actually going to get, I just remembered that they're going to repaint the bottom portion of the guitar and turn it into bright neon colors. I'm definitely going to miss the iconic red. But at the same time, I would love seeing the Muppets. I would love seeing the Muppets in Hollywood studios, and also bring back Muppets Vision 3D. Super Chat America, how are you doing? What's up and how are you doing? And James says, thanks. I grew up around Disneyland, then I moved to Alaska. That's definitely a huge continental leap in a hop. And Gil says, yes, a lot of Vegas is going to bust. People don't gamble like they did. So I'm curious, Gil, and everybody, what is your predictions about what's going to happen in Vegas? Since I've been seeing quite a few articles and predictions, especially from the locals, that the entire Vegas gambling bubble is going to collapse just because of how Vegas continues to move the price point to a richer clientele while leaving out the middle American. Claudius asking, can you draw left-hand scissors, please? You asking, you shall receive. And Matthew says, oh, that's cool. I grew up in Florida all my life, so I go to Walt Disney World every month. That's awesome, Matthew. I'm curious, Matthew, but what is your favorite thing about Walt Disney World? Left-handed scissors coming right up. Oh, do you mean Edward Scissorhands? Nope, not shopping. Whoops. So here you go. Some left-handed scissors just for you. Also, as a heads up, don't be surprised that after the stream ends, YouTube might remove all the comments just because YouTube continues to mistake me as a kiddo, even though I'm no longer a kid anymore. It's just according to some people, it's just my very young, enthusiastic personality that makes YouTube mistake my voice as a kid's voice, not somebody over 13. Which can be a little frustrating, especially since I do enjoy engaging with the comments and seeing the chat. So here you go, a left-handed pair of scissors. Hopefully talking about that Planet Moolah and gambling stuff will help out from all y'all, just to let YouTube know that I know my gambling stuff. So there you go, a left-handed pair of scissors. There you go. Whoop. This is what happens when you use a left-handed pair of scissors. Matthew says, my favorite thing about Walt Disney is because of Hollywood Studios with Star Wars and Toy Stories, Buzz Lightyear, Infinity and Beyond. Lately, my favorite Toy Story land ride has been the Swirling Saucers. I'm not sure what it is, but I just love getting spun around by a bunch of little green aliens. Similar to how it's like getting the invaders from Planet Moolah bonus, and getting taken into all these really wild places by UFOs. That's so amazing, James, that you used to get to go to Disneyland twice a month. James, I'm curious, have you ever been to Disney's California Adventures before? And does anybody have any other live art requests or would like to hop up on the panel? And we can also talk from up here too. Yep, I can definitely draw the Toy Story aliens. The claw. Oh, the claw. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Not sure why, but I absolutely find these aliens so adorable. I sometimes wish that they could come to life and that they could actually walk around Hollywood Studios. Matter of fact, Disney is developing a lifelike, realistic Olaf animatronic that uses AI, and that means that Olaf is able to walk around and interact with guests. That's something that really does blow me away, and I really hope that Olaf is available to all park guests rather than the shareholders. I just noticed this, but the aliens don't have any teeth or a tongue, so I just like to give the aliens a little. I just like to give the aliens a tongue, just for some personality. The claw. And just like the main Despicable Me, they only have 3 fingers, just to make it way easier for the animators to animate. And I do speculate that the reason that both the aliens and the minions only have 3 fingers is due to the volume of each character. And whenever there's a bunch of characters to animate, especially if they're a repeating character, the fewer fingers, the easier. Like I know on Frosty the Snowman, they just give they give Frosty just like this, like a mitten hand, and his fingers only show up whenever he's counting to 10, and that's it. That's what I love about cartoons, is just how versatile they are, and just how cartoon characters can hide and show as many fingers as they please. As a matter of fact, I used to have a little green alien bath toy. Not sure what happened to that, but I used to have Buzz and Woody, and I just noticed that nobody ever made an Andy toy. Poor Andy. So there you go, the claw. Another thing I find really fascinating is the fact that we just got our very first sneak preview of the brand new Buzz Lightyear ride renovation in Disney World. What I find really wild is that Disney World is actually making the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin resemble Shanghai Disneyland Space Ranger spin. I'm definitely going to miss the old nostalgia and classic Space Ranger, but yet I'm really excited and hyped to see all the renovated gameplay, and just to see how the new game dynamics work. So yeah, I do talk a lot. The claw. Whisper Jet says, in heavy traffic right now, that really sucks. Traffic can really suck. Quadu says, how about superheroes now? Please and thank you. You ask and you shall receive. Oh, I can also draw Turbo too. James says, I've been in Alaska for almost 30 years. I've never been to Disney California Adventures. You gotta go to DCA at least once. I definitely missed the Hollywood Tower Hotel, which has been replaced with Mission Breakout, which does gut me beyond belief. That's the one down for me about DCA in Disneyland, is Mission Breakout. Boo you, boo you. And also, Gil, the really sucky thing is YouTube can work in the most mysterious ways, where it hides people, and then it shows up. So I'm definitely going to figure out what's going on YouTube, because sometimes like YouTube does the exact opposite of what you want it to do. So Gil, after the stream, I'll be unhiding you. And Matthew says, I saw some behind the scenes footage of Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, and it looks really ready to be reopened. I'm so hyped to see what Space Ranger spin looks like upon its reopening debut. So here's what I think of when I think of superheroes now. I think of a hybrid of the snails Gary from SpongeBob and Turbo from the Turbo Snail movies. Not sure why, but I think of the snail antennas being muscular eyes. So here you go, Gary Snail. Here's what I think of when I think of a superhero snail. I think of supercalifragilisticexpialidocious snail too, and you can't have a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious snail without I used to run top hat feather. So there you go. Superhero snail, supersonic, super on a lot of Red Bull. And you're like, woo, what's going on? And you're like, woo, what's going on? So here we go. We got ourselves a supersonic, super calfetching exponential dose of snail. Gary the snail, whoop, kaboom. Gail says, Ella, hide me now, Simon, and your soulmate friends. Sounds good, Gil. Want me to hide you so we can be soulmates? To the moon. And I'm glad that the YouTube magic works in our favor again. Whoop, here we go, supersonic snail. No, let's draw Gary the snail, why not? Meow. Oh, meow. Another thing I noticed about Gary's shell is that another thing that I noticed about Gary's shell is that it does not have a swirl in it. What I find really interesting is that does not, unlike the superhero snail we drew, it does not have a distinct swirl in it. But Gary's shell has a really loose swirl line to it, so it's like not very obvious unless you look very carefully while watching a SpongeBob episode. Meow. I'm not sure why, but his shell always reminds me of a Zimbo. Or a rubber helmet. What I really love about SpongeBob comics and characters is that the SpongeBob artists give the comic artists free range. So whoever's drawing the SpongeBob comic series, and depending on who the artist is, you get a completely different style, which I absolutely love, just because of how unique and different each comic looks. So yes, I use a lot of repeating phrases too. Gary this now, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob. SpongeBob, get over there, SpongeBob. We can't have a Gary without at least one plankton sneaking around. And what I find really interesting about plankton is that SpongeBob animators change the plankton size depending on storyline and context. So, for example, in one episode of Plankton, when he gets arrested, Plankton is like so tiny that he could fit through between two molecules and atoms, but yet, and that's how he sneaks out between the bars. But yet, in another SpongeBob episode, Plankton somehow magically grows to the size of half the head of SpongeBob when SpongeBob is carrying him in a jar. That is what I love about the Plankton's character, is that he can shapeshift and that he can change sizes. And also, did you know that Plankton's computer wife Karen used to actually be a banking computer until Plankton met home, and that's how they met. Was when Plankton was banking, and that's how Karen became known as Plankton's computer wife. It's totally okay, Matthew. YouTube does really weird stuff to me too. Totally understandable, totally okay. And yep, we are like the two quantum atoms in reality. We are all in this together. And Quantum is asking, can you draw Saturn next to Jupiter, please? And thank you. Yes, and you shall receive. You get Saturn and you get Jupiter. Saturn, Jupiter. Do you know that Neptune? Is actually the largest planet? Is the largest planet in the solar system, and Uranus is the coldest planet in the solar system. Uranus has a surface temperature of negative 270 degrees Fahrenheit, and Saturn, as it may look mega, gigantic, and large, is actually pretty petite compared to Jupiter, which has 61 orbital moons. And the reason that Saturn looks so humongous is because of its rings. They're both known as gas giants. They're both known as gas giants. So here we go. a Saturn and a Jupiter just like peanut butter and jelly. So what I find really wild about the red eye of Jupiter is actually, I believe, is an atmospheric storm that has been raging on for over 300 years since the Roman Empire. So I also put Jupiter puts you to shame. And what I find really wild is the reason that the red eye continues to rage is that there's no resistance or anything in the atmosphere that actually stops the storm from raging on. And what I find really wild is that the sun called a hot Jupiter because in our solar system most of the gas giants are all they pass Mars and all past Mars into the colder areas of the solar system. Yet in some solar systems they have the gas giants that orbit in the proximity to the stars as Mercury does to our sun. And as a result, these are called the super hot Jupiters, where there's actually a theory that the gas giants were formed out in the farther edges of the solar system, but something either a meteor or either another planet pushed them closer to the orbit of the host star, which I find rather mind-blowing and fascinating to read about and to hear and to talk about. The Jupiter and the Saturn. Super surprise Saturn. Whoop. And what I find wild is that I forgot how to say the name exactly correct, the correct name. But there is a mountain range on Earth called the Appalachian Mountains that have forgotten the name, but the Appalachian Mountains are the East Coast mountain range. And what I find really wild about these mountains is that they're noodles and Saturn's rings. Scientists are still unsure how Saturn's rings were actually formed, but it's been a guess that a bunch of moons collided together and went ka-chow, and it formed Saturn's rings. So this is Saturn and Jupiter, which is kind of unrealistic, just because if Saturn and Jupiter were to get together, in this close proximity, their gravities and the masses would unfortunately tear their cores apart. Oh, that is so wild. That's so wild, James, that Plankton is your granddaughter's favorite character. What is your granddaughter like about Plankton? And yep, Saturn's having a ball of a time with Jupiter. What going on? That's Jupiter. Skill says the Earth is flat. Anyone going twice? Is the Earth flat? Is it a sphere? Is it a square? Is it a donut? I'm guessing it's not as flat as Kansas, because do you know that Kansas is actually flatter than a pancake? I forgot the name of the person, but there was a geographer who actually compared the terrain of a pancake to the terrain of Kansas, and when he scaled the pancake to the size of Kansas, it was determined that the pancake had a lot more texture and a lot more elevation and surface level variation in comparison to Kansas. Just because of all the nooks and crannies you can find in air pockets that you can find within a pancake. So yes, Kansas is not flatter than a pancake. Actually, Kansas is flatter than a pancake. A pancake is not flatter than Kansas, because there's more than corn in Indiana. Flying squirrel, whee! Let's fly. Let's go fly a flying squirrel kite. Flying squirrel, here you go. Going on to long tries, here you go. A flying squirrel just for you all. Which is called a Shiggle glider. Matter of fact, I used to know somebody who had the Shiggle glider. Unfortunately, the gliders not do so well, so they did find a new home, and they seem to be doing way better, which is a huge relief. Also, another thing I find wild is that a bat and a dog share a bunch of a fruit bat and a dog share some very similar facial features. And if you look up a bat dog, you can actually see a dog that looks like a bat, and vice versa. So whatever you do, Don't pet the flying puppies. Because flying puppies are not your pets. In most cases. Allegedly. So here you go, whoop, a flying squirrel. And I also want to thank and appreciate everyone's patience as we navigated StreamYard tonight. I haven't used StreamYard for quite some time, and it does take me some time. To get familiar with a brand new platform. Not a brand new platform, but a platform that I haven't used on my own for quite some time. There you go. A flying skull coming on down from Jupiter and beyond. Ah, Rocky's cousin. Hello, Rocky. How you doing? And I totally understand, James. I was just curious, and I still need to. I'm also autistic myself, and sometimes I have a hard time explaining stuff or articulating my wants or desires. Here you go, whoop, a little flying squirrel. So does anybody have any last art requests before we wrap it up for the night? Well, with that being said, I just kind of thank you all for being here. Thank you so much, Quadzu, James, Gail, and Gail says the office, and you're very welcome, Quadzu. Gail says the office flats are not. Here you go, Gil. Is one off shaped as a pancake. So who wants a pancake shaped off? Anybody? Going once, going twice? Here's what it off looks like if it was a pancake. A strawberry pancake. Because it's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. So here's a fluffy pancake off. And as a reminder, tomorrow night we're gonna be doing even more live art requests. So if you didn't get around to your art request tonight, tomorrow we're gonna be doing more art requests on Tony Hotel, which is our second channel. And we'll see you all on Tony Hotel for part number 2 of the live art stream. The reason I did the stream tonight was just to test out StreamYards and to see what adjustments I needed to make for any future streams or any future podcast episodes. So thank you so much, everybody, for your patience. Hello, Ghosty Sunglasses. It's so good to see you. We'll be live on Tony Hotel tomorrow for even more live art, even more shenanigans. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Especially since this is more of a test stream, just testing out StreamYards, seeing how we like the software, and seeing how to fine tune everything for future streams, especially when it comes to the chat, and especially when it comes to the audio and sound quality. So thank you, everybody. Gail says, have you considered it might be? Not quite yet, Gail. I'm not considered flat earth theory or any theory that I not learned at school. Thank you so much, Matthew, Manny, and everybody who is here, and James. Thank you, Whisper Jet. And thank you so much, Cynthia. Woo! Thank you so much, everybody, for your birthday wishes. That means the absolute world. Thank you, everybody. I had an absolutely wonderful, amazing time with you all tonight. So we'll see you around tomorrow, Tony Hotel, at the same time. And yep, it's off, but as a plate of food. Thank you so much. So see you around, everybody. Have a great night.